Hey Commander fans, welcome back to DeHero TV. Today, I've got something chilling in store for you, a budget Commander deck featuring the new card, Arabella, Abandoned Doll. Arabella weaves a web of control, disruption, and powerful recursion to outlast your opponents and dominate the battlefield. This deck will be ideal for those who love a slow, methodical playstyle with the ability to turn the game on its head in a moment's notice. I'll break down some of the key cards and strategies you'll need to haunt your opponent's dreams. Remember, the full deck list is in the description below, and I'm just going to cover the key cards here. Let's dive in.
This video is powered by Dubby. Dubby Energy is the maker of a clean gamer energy drink to help enhance focus, concentration, and reaction time with no jitters, crash, or bad ingredients. Head over to dubby.gg and use the code THEHEROES to get that 10% discount.
At the heart of this deck is Arabella, Abandoned Doll, who turns each game into a battle of attrition. This deck thrives on life gain, recursion, and token generation to overwhelm the board while controlling the pace of the game with powerful hate bear creatures and disruptive effects. Arabella's strength lies in her ability to manipulate death triggers and keep important creatures coming back, creating a relentless army of tokens and efficient creatures that continually grind down your opponents. Let's break down some of the core elements of this budget deck and the key cards that make it shine. Arabella's ability to haunt the battlefield comes into play with her built-in recursion. As a creature that interacts with death triggers, this deck's focus is on looping your small creatures, gaining incremental value, and generating tokens that overwhelm your opponents. Key synergy. Arabella works especially well with token generators and graveyard recursion, cards that create multiple bodies like Assemble the Legion, or cards that bring back creatures like Karmic Guide help fuel Arabella's engine. This deck takes advantage of life gain triggers to build up your board presence, slowly but surely turning life gain into victory. Some of the key cards that synergize with life gain and token generation include Angelic Accord. Every time you gain 4 or more life, you get a 4/4 angel token. This can easily snowball if your deck's life gain effects stack. Griffin Airy. Another life gain token generator, which pumps out 2/2 flying griffins every time you gain 3 or more life. Attended Healer. Perfect for building up your token army whenever life gain happens. These tokens provide sacrificial fodder or simply flood the board. Since Arabella thrives on death triggers and recursion, bringing key creatures back from the graveyard is crucial. Ascend from Avernus, a budget-friendly mass recursion spell that brings back all creatures and planeswalkers from your graveyard, flooding the board in a late-game push. Karmic Guide, a classic recursion piece, allowing you to bring back any creature in your graveyard when it enters the battlefield. This also works perfectly with Arabella to recycle key creatures and effects. Resurrection, Refurbish, and Late to Dinner, cheap spells that recur important creatures from your graveyard, keeping the value engine going. Building a token army is essential to overwhelm your opponents and make the most of cards like Arabella and life gain payoffs. Assemble the Legion. This enchantment slowly grows your army over time, creating an unstoppable force as the game progresses. Sky Knight Vanguard, a budget token maker that creates 1/1 soldiers every time it attacks, making it an excellent early game board presence. Squee, Dubious Monarch. Squee consistently churns out tokens each time it attacks and can come back from the graveyard, making it a solid recurring threat. This deck isn't just about building your own board, but also about disrupting your opponent's plans. You want to slow their tempo, control their resources, and prevent them from going off too quickly. Thalia, Guardian of Threbin, slows down non-creature spells, forcing your opponents to pay extra mana for their crucial spells. Archon of Emeria limits each player to 1 spell per turn while punishing non-basic land-heavy decks. Hokori, Dustdrinker, taps down lands during your opponent's upkeep, massively slowing down the game and giving you the upper hand as you develop your board. Leonin Arbiter punishes opponents who rely heavily on fetching lands or searching their libraries, keeping them from ramping too fast. 6. Damage Doublers Finishers. Once your army is assembled, it's time to close the game by hitting hard and fast. Here's where damage doubling effects and aggressive cards come into play. Dictate of the Twin Gods, a flash enchantment that doubles all damage dealt, making your attacks twice as deadly and quickly bringing your opponent's life totals to 0. City on Fire. This card triples damage dealt by your creatures and spells, turning even small tokens into massive threats. Pairing this with Assemble the Legion or other token makers can end the game in a single turn. Raid Bombardment. Perfect for a token deck, this enchantment deals 1 damage to each opponent whenever a creature with power 2 or less attacks. With a wide enough board, you'll whittle down your opponents in no time. Maintaining card advantage is crucial in any deck, and Arabella, Abandoned Doll, benefits greatly from small creatures and token synergies that draw cards. Mentor of the Meek. With so many creatures entering the battlefield, you can consistently pay the mana to draw cards and refill your hand. Bygone Bishop provides card draw for each small creature you cast, turning your low-cost curve into additional card advantage. Professional Facebreaker generates treasure tokens when your creatures deal combat damage, allowing you to ramp and convert treasures into more card draw. This deck doesn't aim for a quick win, but instead slowly overwhelms your opponents by snowballing value over time. Here's how you can close out the game. Assemble the Legion and City on Fire. With City on Fire on the battlefield, your growing army of tokens will deal massive damage, threatening lethal in just a couple of attacks. Raid Bombardment. With a wide token board, this enchantment whittles down your opponent's life totals each turn. Dictate of the Twin Gods. Doubling damage when the time is right, especially with a big token army, can end the game out of nowhere. And there you have it. A budget-friendly commander deck centered around Arabella, Abandoned Doll, with a focus on recursion and token generation. This deck builds value over time, creating an unstoppable army of tokens while continuously recurring key creatures for extra power. If you love decks that reward patience and planning, this is the perfect build for you. Remember, the full deck list is in the description below, so check it out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with what deck tech you'd like to see next. Until then, keep haunting the battlefield.